Okay, everybody, about to go live on YouTube. This will be in your email in just a minute. So look for that. It'll be the replay link. And let me put in one more place. Look, sharing my screen maybe. We'll see. We haven't heard absolutely if Tom Gimateo is on for today, but let me go ahead and record this. So welcome to Miracles, Magic, and Coffee. I think we're giving Jen the day off. She's downstairs with Ben and Baden. It's a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if you can even see it. It's so bright out there. But and we're going to see if Tom is on. I've got some cool stuff if he's not on. But I think I'm going to share my screen for just a minute. Let me share my screen. I feel like sharing my screen. Let's see if this works. Yeah. So this is what you get when you you go to the let me just grab it. When you go to the link in your email, and then you should be able to. Whoop, I put it on the wrong one, but it'll still work. Well, you'll go to the link. I think this is the one I sent you, and then you'll click for the show, and then we're on. So that's how you do that. And one thing that's cool is I just was looking at it. It's like, oh, these were good times. This was at the Royale Coffee Shop in Bankers Hill in San Diego, just around the corner from our house. Ben, when he was a little one, a really good day. This was me and Jen at another coffee shop, Artigiano in Vancouver, British Columbia, way before Ben, and just hanging out in our trail shoes and our half marathon shirts and our Matrix Energetics medallions and drinking flat white coffee. And so really, really good days. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen there and come back and let's see if Tom's here. So he's not. So we might just be starting here pretty soon. So so go to YouTube and then let me know in the questions. Don't put it in the chat. Put it in the comments so that they stay forever and we can see them. And you can put it in the chat too if you want. It's just that they won't end up in the comments. So so let me know what's going on in your life. We are in such amazing times right now, right? Just amazing times. And so one thing that I thought I would do, I was doing my morning meditation and I woke up a little late and I forgot that I had a group session with our Enlighten Up group. And so I was like, I'd been doing a lot of meditation. And so I did it about 30 minutes late and then sent the video to everybody through our portal. And it was really big. And the other day I was doing a session with Mingtong Gu, and there were not a lot of words. He's been doing lots of free sessions right now because so many people need help. We're in a very interesting time, and so I'm going to show you a very simple way. Unless Tom gets on and he talks about his Golden Heart series, which I want to talk about at some point, but yeah, there was very few words in Mingtong's thing. And I realized this morning as I was doing my meditation, going through my process and thinking about what's important for me and for the day and for us. And I was going through, if you got everything you wanted, and you might do this right now, let's just go ahead and start. Go ahead and just consider if you got everything you wanted. And just go through your list, you can do this in greater depth and longer time in a bit, but if you could get what you want right now. And a lot of people don't know what they want right now because I've got friends that work in all sorts of jobs that I thought were very secure, and we're not even sure if they're going back to their jobs afterwards. I'm talking about some medical doctors, I'm talking about electricians that work for oil refineries, teachers, all sorts of people are wondering, is there going to be a job when they go back? So in a little bit, I'm going to be making a video about something that I found. So look for that on my YouTube and Facebook Live in just a little bit. later on today. But for right now, if you could design your life, if you could somehow find a way to get what you want at this point, what might that be? And what would it give you if you got everything you wanted in just the way you wanted? What would it give you? What would it do for you? What would be some of the cool things to having gotten that, including some of the intangible things, the priceless things, happiness, bliss, joy, peace, content, knowing everything's okay, security. And out of all the stuff that you would get, the physical stuff and also the priceless stuff, well, there's Tom. What would be the best part of that? So this is going to be perfect time to get Tom on, and we'll do this meditation more later. But let's bring Tom on. Let me promote him to panels. Allow to talk. Hola, Tom.
Hey, how are you? I was getting comfortable in your meditation, so.
Oh, we can finish a little bit of it. Yeah, because it's like cool. Yeah, thank you for that. It came to me this morning as I was doing everything, and I'm like, okay, if I had everything I wanted, what would I get? And some of the priceless things came in, and it basically came down to bliss. And I was doing a meditation with Ming Tong Gu, our Qigong master, and he didn't use a lot of words. In fact, for the first part, he wasn't talking, but it was a transmission, that direct connection to source. And and I realized, oh man, it reminded me of a movie that I saw, a really funny movie about a guru. It's really funny if you can find it on Netflix. Kumari, Kumari, or something like that. Really funny. But Deepak called it one of the best movies on gurus and enlightenment. But
Wow.
it's good, Kumari. And during the last part of the movie, without giving too much away, it's really good. He said, "It's my job is to be happy." That's his job. And I thought, that's true. And I thought, well, what would be the best part of having all this stuff that I would get? It'd be, well, I'd be in bliss. And it's like, well, can I do that now? Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then and then, the whole idea of the Buddhist idea of like, what's the road to enlightenment? Well, um, chop wood, carry water, like do your job and just be present. And I was walking with a friend yesterday, and there was a bit of complaining going on. And then we realized, oh my God, we just missed the last 20 minutes of our life because we were walking around a beautiful place with waterfalls and ponds and trees and trails. And it's like, oh my God, we just missed it. So it was kind of cool. So we can just drop into that bliss place, which is going to go great for my first question for you, and just go from wherever it goes. And yeah, how would we do bliss? Yeah.
How would we do bliss?
And so I thought it would be cool to talk to you about, the origin of you do stuff so much faster now. IMT is always evolving, integrated manual therapy, and faster, quicker, more direct ways to connect to somebody getting their health back, their body, their life back. And you have this golden heart thing. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool if it's something that feels right to you to share, like how that showed up, and how that what you noticed with that, and how can it be useful, and just anything around that, or anything else you want to share.
Sure. Um, a few things are that I wrote a little in my newsletter that we have called RBDs, which stand for Related Biological Disorders. What I found last week was everybody was picking up their iPhones too much, or their devices, or staring into the computer too much. And in the papers, there's been topics of this blue light generating from our iPhones, the screens, the way they project. And it's been known that that causes insomnia and anxiety. So one of the things that we can do a two-purpose thing, is that the eyes really, when we get really hyper vigilant, they make us even get more anxious. So when we're holding a cell phone this close, it makes our eyes get more tight. And in the structural world, that's actually pulling on our limbic system. It's like making us hyperactive in those pieces. So remind me a little bit later to put the whole meditation together again. But Ralph, where I was going with that was if we had placed our hands over our eyes and project our energy to the back of the eyeballs, which is called the retina. And inside the retina, there's a macula, and inside the macula is the fova. And the fova is the most detailed neurons for visual acuity. And if you go to Google and look at those pieces, and we want to project our hand energy into that, and the second one on our heart, just like we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, that would bring us some calmness and reduces hypervigilance. So just take some nice, slow, deep breaths. Let's do 3 or 4 breaths together, like a 2-second in and a 2-second out breath. When I do that, Ralph, I start to feel warmth behind my eyes. And that will help disengage the retinas and the maculas and the fova away from the nervous system. And it could help in limbic. And actually the room got brighter for me after I took my hands off here. So we want to be careful of that blue light. And on Amazon, there are, for like $15 or $20, you can actually order a screen for your computer, or order a screen for your device, or there are actually some glasses that help prevent the blue light. And some of the phones, they actually have you can order an app, but I don't feel it's really successful in dampening the blue light. But I feel that that's been very hypervigilant type of pieces.
It feels really good, much more calm and at peace with that. So
another suggestion on that, and we'll get to the golden heart in about 2 minutes or so. Another suggestion is that I really have found myself craving Earl Grey tea. And do you know the story what Earl Grey tea has in it that makes it different than other teas?
I forgot. I think you guys told me a long time ago, and I forgot.
So Earl Grey tea has a essence of orange called bergamot in it. And bergamot is a certain citrus fruit that looks like an orange, and it smells like orange. So like all the other essential oils, like doTERRA has a sweet orange, and they're very calming to the system. So I find myself wanting a nice organic Earl Grey tea, and the bergamot in there is, or if you use essential oils, having a sweet orange or a bergamot scent is really helpful in calming down the limbic system.
That's awesome.
And in my supplement line, I have a pure bergamot that I have people, which is an essential oil. They put a drop and put it on your forehead and things that are under your nose, and it really calms down the room. So the cheap one is to go out and find a really good tea that has bergamot, which really smells citrusy, and you'll find some calming just because of that piece at the same time. Okay.
Awesome. Just so this, and visualize the back of your eyes.
Yep.
And breathe, and then some Earl Grey tea and some bergamot essential oil, and you can get a very precise version of that at the IMT Wellness Center.com.
Yeah. Is one way to get it ordered. And so if we place our hands like we're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and this has always been an interesting piece. So we'll do a little experiment here with you, Ralph, is that we have had discussions that how do you teach touch over the internet? So I'm going to try to describe it to the best I can. Great. But other people don't get focused on the words, because it's really hard sometimes to understand your picture. But if you feel a sensation change, that's all I'm asking. Okay. Because as I describe it, if I talk about somebody having a piece of butter and you squish it with your fingers, does that person picture it in the freezer? Or does that person picture it's been out for 3 days and you can't even really pick it up? So we all have words give us pictures. And when I have students in front of me and I can describe touch better and we can show and I can have them watch how they feel the things, it's a little easier. But we're going to try this process. So if we put our hand here and we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance again. Okay. And we're going to just gently feel how connected our hand gets to our heart. So if you lift it up 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and you just feel that, okay, I can feel my shirt and I can feel I touch the hairs on my chest and now I can feel the skin and I lift it up. I just want to see how much attraction my hand has to getting down to under my skin and lifting it up. Okay. Then if we take our other hand and put it right on the top of our head, right, it's called the bregma, right where the frontal bone and the parietal bones connect. And I try to do that same activity again. I feel that there's a thickness in my hand. It feels like there's now a magnet that sticks my hand to my chest a little bit more, right? Yeah. And as when I move my hand, it gets lighter again. My hand has lightness to it. And when I put my hand back here, it gets stuck again. It's a stickiness, it's a heaviness. There's a connection. Yes. So this is like a type of acupressure in Chinese medicine. We call it NFP for neurofascial processing, but we found that different spots in the body have these connections or super pathways. So by touching the top of our head and holding on to our heart, we can make this deep connection here. Yeah. Hold on, Ralph. I need to answer a question.
No worries. And you can play with, you're touching your head. Maybe you're touching your hair, your skin, the bone, just under the bone, the space, your brain, deep inside your brain. And then you can bring your awareness back to touching the skin. And then you bring your awareness back to touching deep inside the brain. And you might notice a difference with your hand. It might feel different when you think about your brain. And then when you think about the skin. And then you think about your brain. And you think about your skull bone. And then you think about your brain. So you might be able to notice there's a difference, something that happens differently in your awareness in your hand and your touch and your sensation when you think about the brain. And then when you think about the bone, the skull bone, there's a difference in the palpation, in the touch.
I apologize. I forgot to lock my door and I'm the only person in my office today.
Well, that's okay. We were going through just feeling the brain versus feeling the skin versus feeling the bone.
Yep.
In a sense of what happens, there's something that might happen in people's touch.
So some people feel a deep warmth with this, not the first minute, but 2 to 3 minutes into it. We found if you make that connection for 15 to 30 minutes, a lot of things happen. And if you need to scratch your nose, it's okay, but you want to make the connection within, you can take it off. If your arms get tired, sometimes I recommend putting pillows around so it's more comfortable to do. But under that chest, I would say 90% of the time when you're making these two connections, we have this generation of the golden heart, which is structurally between the heart and the pericardium. There seems to be this energetic ball, almost the size of a softball, that can be created there. And it seems that that pulse of that energy, when it radiates to the body, helps to change a lot of things.
Yeah, so the pericardium is a sac around your heart, and then you have your heart, and so the space between the sac of the heart and the heart.
And it's related in a lot of energy. It's related in a lot of cultures, like the chakra energy, the heart energy. one of the pictures of Christ with the heart and the flame above it is another relationship that, relates to heart energies and things like that. So we found that this connection is very powerful. And then if you wanted to take the meditation or the self-help technique even differently, you would take then after doing about 5 to 10 minutes and then put your hands on your eyes, and you feel that even this connection feels strong. And when you make a good NFP connection, both hands feel stickier than the individual hand by itself. And the ideal way to know when you're finished is that as the connections are made, like 1 to 2 minutes in it, it even feels even like it draws your hands in even deeper. And then 8 to 10 minutes later, it softens up again. So it sort of goes through this bell curve of stickiness and non-stickiness. If you do have it, and if you can notice that, then what I say is take your hands off when it feels less in the compression mode. Otherwise, 10 minutes usually gets at least one cycle of the body to really enjoy that. And we have done this for 40 years now, and it's been one of the therapeutic tools we've sent around the world. This was the book published by my wife in the 90s called The Body Wisdom Book by Sharon Gimateo, Light Touch for Optimal Health. And we describe all the reasons why we touch our heart versus our eyes versus our liver. And there are some amazing pictures in the book itself on what the handholds mean. And then the last third of the book is about 40 different therapies, like for headaches, for low back pain, for knee pain. And it actually shows a person doing the therapies in the sequence that will actually help that out.
So that's a very simple way that somebody can do this acupressure type healing on themselves, even if they don't have a lot of training or skills, or if they need to want to do it for their kids or.
Yes, and even if you did this with the meditation you were talking about a little bit earlier, these two connections, it should actually amplify it another 50% more in that whole process.
And and so that's what the meditation is basically noticing what you notice. And so noticing what's happening in your body, and then noticing what your eyes are seeing. There's all this light coming to our eyes. We don't have to go searching for it. It's already coming there, and just noticing what's coming in, the tree or the window or whatever you see. And then we're noticing what's coming into your ears, the sounds, and the space in between the sounds, and noticing what's happening in your body, the sensations. And there's something magical that happens when you notice. And just keep noticing and keep noticing. So that would be a really cool way to go. And then you could notice your brain, notice your heart. What about like somebody doing this mindlessly, like they're watching a movie and they're not thinking about anything? How much does that help compared to paying attention to what you're noticing inside your body and inside your heart and inside your brain?
And we have tried it all different ways. The more power and energy you bring to it, like saying, okay, I want to feel the connection, that stickiness between my hands, and that's like total awareness. I would say that gives you another 30-40%. But just for some clients, I just say, okay, you're going to watch the news at night, or you're going to watch your sitcom at night. Just if you have any time that your hands are quiet, just go ahead and do this. If you're waiting in a doctor's office. I have a cute story that my youngest stepson was in college, and his girlfriend had some allergy issues. So she did come up to the office for a few visits, and we had given her this pattern how to drain the sinuses, which were about 4 of these different positions of putting her hands over her sinuses and using the liver for drainage. And she really felt her headaches were going away. She was feeling much better. And my stepson went over there for dinner one day, and they were always complaining that his girlfriend's father was a horrendous person that snored all the time. and actually had to have a separate bedroom from the mother. And he was living in Connecticut, and he used to commute down to New York City, so he had a 30-minute train line. So they gave him the same pattern for the allergies that she had learned that helped her headaches, and the father would do this for his train ride down. And in about 2.5 weeks, his snoring was reduced a whole lot, and within the year, it was like almost gone.
That's awesome. It's a technique
Um,
that I use every day. I mean, I wake up, I go to bed, and I do a couple of positions because you're in bed anyway. And if I wake up and I don't want to get out of bed, I do another one. And it's like, it's an easy way to get in some good healing work.
Yeah. So if we brought that back together, that this is really good to get the spiritual and the energy into the golden heart, and we make this connection first, and then again, if we take it to eyes, it's going to bring circulation in there. It's going to help reduce the limbic anxiety portions of the whole process. So that's always a really good area. The other last tool I like to share with you is then if you took the heart and the eyes at one at a time and take them down to the bladder, it helps drain the toxins out.
Nice.
Right. So making all those connections, heart to bladder, heart to eyes, heart to the top of the head, and then go and doing the eyes to the top of the head, the heart and the bladder, all helps. So if you ever have a skeletal injury, like you sprain your ankle or you have a burn, taking that to the bladder really helps the drainage piece. And we found that the swelling goes out.
That is awesome. And I feel it right now. I mean, I've done this for many years, and even so, this little bit right now of time, it's like it's starting to have a big effect. I can feel it. Awesome.
Yeah, we always need the reminder because I forget sometimes. And I'm not sure if you woke up today, Ralph, but last night at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the supermoon came out, the pink supermoon. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't see it. Oh man.
So if you go out tonight and you have if you have a clear, non-cloudy, the moon is this is gonna be the biggest moon of the year.
Oh, we're gonna go look.
And it's the pink moon because it's the spring season. So this morning when I woke up, I had a list of like 8 text messages of panic and strain. And some of my research was looking into astrology is like when we have a full moon, you always hear that the ERs are busier. And what I'm going to condense it down to say is that the relationship to Earth to moon is mother to child. And so when the moon is very present, we're looking at our own self-reflection. And when we're not really comfortable with our self-reflection, we get a little nervous. So I feel that this pink moon really was showing us how, internally on a metaphysical level that we're becoming aware, and especially being in this protective mode with the virus, we've been a lot more quiet inside. So a lot more gerbils are running around in our head. And it's a really good thing, but a lot of people have not learned how to be of heart they're mostly of mind, right? They're always thinking. And I loved your visualizations of you're walking down and you're having an argument and you miss the beautiful waterfall. We
realized it's like, oh my God, we just missed 20 minutes of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because something came up that surprised me yesterday for me, and I was like, why am I so stressed all of a sudden over this one thing? And it didn't make a lot of sense, but for some reason it kept me on my attention, and then I went to bed doing some NFP and kind of like doing my peace process, and I had a dream, and I should have written it down, but it had to do with a baby, and I forgot what it was exactly, but it gave me a lot of clarity that to not fight or be hard with this one person, kind of like somebody that's had a tough childhood, they act a certain way, and we don't have to be so hard on people. And it was just an epiphany that came to me, and then I came up with all sorts of really cool things for this person, a client. And so I emailed her and was like, oh my God, your next session is gonna be so cool. This is what I'm coming up with. But it was a waking up after that full moon of having had a dream of a baby, and we've all had our versions of whatever I was feeling, like some kind of like not fun stuff as a child, and then being gentle with people. I should have written it down to get the more the message, but I had a dream that kind of resonates with that what you talked about with the moon and
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah. Another suggestion is keep a little notepad by the edge of your bed.
Yeah.
And write it down if you can. And I don't like to keep my cell phone in the same room, but sometimes I use the notepad. I wake up and I walk over and grab my cell phone and just dictate into my notepad. And it's interesting sometimes to read what I wrote halfway when I woke up and things like that.
Isn't that the truth? I had a osteopath that was all into hypnosis, and that's all he did, and that's what I did. It was I'd go under hypnosis after having a dream, and at night I would write it down in detail. And when I woke up, I was like, wow, that's a lot more detail than I remember now. And then in hypnosis, he would say, what did that red parrot mean? And I knew it exactly like what it meant. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. It's kind of cool. That's neat. So that's the golden heart is to activate these centers, and then you have more access to some healing.
Yeah, from my research, Ralph, that energy's come in over the last 20 years. It's always been present, and it's always been talked about in yoga and chakras and many different forms of energy. I've always talked about this heart energy. But in the IMT world, we noticed it about the year 2015, that there was this radiant orb sitting inside that softball area. And when we started to look at it and started to palpate it and give it some extra energy, things would vibrate out at a different format. More of a heart conscious, a communal, universal section. And as you know, we always used to talk about in the 90s when we were doing physical therapy, this technique really worked well when we're doing something to repair a muscle or a nerve or a ligament. And then it sort of started to lose power as people's whole etheric and full body started to change, and the techniques weren't sticking as well or being completed as well. And when we found the golden heart energy again, they really refortified themselves. Right? So it wasn't just the muscle with a tear in it. We really had to bring it to, okay, what does that tear mean to your heart? What does that mean to your presence? And when we made that connection, everything started to re-maintain like the things that we used to find in the 90s.
Yeah, I remember in the 90s, we had all those little heart motilities. There's like a gazillion of them and I remember once our friend Kathy from San Diego, Kathy, she was there. She goes, yeah, Tom walked by this little boy. He was like, probably 8-year-old little boy or 5-year-old little boy, some kind of little boy. He might have been getting treatment, I'm not sure. And I don't know if you touched him or not, but Kathy had her hand on his heart, and she said all these little heart motilities just went, ooh. And and then there was another experience where I forgot who it was. It was Alan's sister, the chiropractor's sister, but she was working, and she had a bone bruise that there was on a client, and you walked by and touched the it's trying to make you sound like Jesus or something, but touched the guy that said hi or something, and the bone bruise went away. And so it's kind of like cool, these energies that are heart centered, things can change a lot faster than we've been led to believe.
Yeah. And I can tell a story where my wife Sharon was lecturing. This was probably about 2004, and it was a sports medicine course for physical therapists on shoulders. And we had a panel of 4 professors that were teaching, and these were 2 of them were on very big, like the Red Sox. He was the physical therapist for the Red Sox. Another one was a physical therapist for a football team. And they were giving all the new science on here's the surgery and this is what physical therapy does for it. And the term came up, what do you do with a bone bruise? And these guys were talking from the medical side. Well, the bone has to heal. So you actually put the athlete on 6 weeks of not even stepping on it. And then we slowly go back, and it takes like 9 months to do. And we had just discovered the bone bruise technique of actually getting into the tissues and allowing them to reconnect. And people have the strength back and the pain isn't there anymore in 5 to 10 minutes. And so Sharon was daydreaming, and then somebody asked, well, Sharon, what do you do with the bone bruise, or what do you do with this type of athlete? She goes, well, I just fixed the bone bruise, and in 3 to 4 minutes, they're back out playing on the field. And these guys went berserk, like, that's impossible to do. And their belief systems really got blown out of the water with that whole process. So.
Yeah, I just offered a bone bruise technique to a friend of mine who broke his toe and can't run. And yeah, sometimes it's hard to believe that, you know, an hour of a hangout time with somebody and doing something much less than that, but just a session could do it. It's like, but if you feel it, then you kind of have a kind of goes ding. So yeah.
And if you don't know what you don't know, then it's again sounds weird and mystical and a little bit, you know, skittish, but
yeah.
But some people, and this is a time of change, right? We're having our belief systems. Who would have ever thought that the government's going to have me sit in my house and pay me money to sit there and be quiet?
Yeah.
This reality is, it's time for, and it's an opportunity to say maybe there's more possibilities and not to have such a vengeance.
Not to have such a vengeance, yeah.
Of this is right and this is wrong. You know, whatever fixes the person is what we ever need to do. And sometimes it's a word, sometimes it's a prayer, sometimes it's a herb, sometimes it's a touch. And I've seen them all work miraculous miracles at some point. And sometimes you need the doctor to sew back on your arm if it's been broken or fractured in the physical means. So they all have their tools, and I don't feel one is better than the other.
Just different pieces. Yeah, I know when Ben had that, luckily it was a plastic baseball bat, but a giant gash, we were in the ER, and thank God there was a really good doctor. And the urgent care said, no, too much, we can't do this here. You go to the ER. And we had a really good guy. So, you know, and now it looks great. So barely a Harry Potter scar at all. And yeah, so I wouldn't have wanted to just do IMT then, although I was doing all my matrix stuff on the way to the hospital.
I'm sure it helped.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure it helped.
Yeah, so it's awesome. This golden heart is cool. I feel it. It'd be cool to hear what other people feel. So
yeah, it'd be nice to hear everybody's reflection on it, and let me know if you understood the words enough that I could start teaching this way. I want a little more.
Awesome. This is really good, you guys. I'm going to put this on the email to the group. Today, I'm putting an email out today, but I'll do it on the regular Thursday one too. And then post this video. And I've been trying to get Tom to teach this stuff online for a while. so this felt good to me, and it'd be cool to hear what you guys think, whether you're a practitioner or not. If you felt something, if you felt like you found something useful, if this could be something that would be useful to teach as an online thing, because I feel it. I think it'd be really cool. And yeah, thank you, Tom. It was awesome, man.
Thanks, Ralph.
Yeah.
And always good to connect with you.
It's so good. Okay, bye now.
Bye.
Bye, you guys. Okay, see you in a little bit. Look for the video. Let us know what